How great is it to have, we met Jillian, and she seems like a wonderful person
Amazing.
to work with. I mean, how great is it to have that representation? And then on screen, we see all these strong families led by women.
Yeah.
You know?
It's honestly just amazing that, you know, because on paper, right, this is an incredible feat. It is written, directed, produced, and starring women. And that's incredible. But what's like even more incredible is how talented and hardworking and empathetic and thoughtful and kind those women are. And especially working with Jill so personally, because every character was Jill. Like Jill and I were the ones who were working together pretty much alone in a room. You know, there was tons of people watching behind the glass, but what felt like a very intimate kind of journey for me and her. And I cannot speak more highly of another human on this planet. And everyone was so wonderful that it's cool to work with women, but it's cooler to work with women who are badass and incredibly talented, and badass in that she's just so kind also. You know, it's easy to you know, like harden in an industry like this one, and she's kept her like big heart and her and also her fierceness at the same time, which is super. You know, this film is very much set in China. You know, it is rich with little nuances that only someone who comes from an Asian family would understand. Like the wok is casually on the counter, or the bao, or the pork buns are the prized treat. Whereas growing up, if I brought a bao to school, they were like, "What is that? Do Asians eat snowballs?" Like it'd be like a weird. I remember getting that as a comment, and so like I love the idea that we're completely normalizing, not only normalizing, but like, those bao look good. I want to eat those in the film. I've definitely walked away being really hungry. So I love the idea that we're like exposing so many young kids to a culture, and hopefully just normalizes it so people aren't going to be bullied about being different the way that, you know, I know a lot of at least Asians in the West or Asian Americans have felt the way that I did. At first, it's amazing, but it's also slightly disappointing that it's taken this long. Because I remember it being being like, wow, there's no representation on screen. You know, when I was a kid, I didn't, Mulan was the only reference of any Asian American woman, like, that was easily accessible to me growing up in Chicago. It shaped what I thought I could do and what I could not do. When you don't see yourself on screen, it subconsciously limits what you think you can accomplish. It's why white men think they can do anything, like be president. When you give someone the power of imagining themselves as a fighter or a warrior or a superhero or a queen or whatever it is that they want to be, you plant a seed that it's possible. And so when you don't have that representation on screen, there's like a lack of confidence that you ultimately develop, because you think, if I want to be this way, I have to be this version of what the media or what the movies or what TV is telling me to be. And you know, there's like kind of subconsciously taking in that concept as like a kid who takes in film and TV, and then there's coming to Hollywood and realizing and being literally told that, you are not white enough for this part, you are not Asian enough for this part, you are not a man, so you can't do this part. And so there's experiencing it through the zeitgeist of like media, and then there is like being told that in the room. And the second I was told that, I remember thinking like, they're right, I'm not white enough for that part. Like the leads can't be an Asian person. That would be crazy. Like I remember thinking that when I was 17, when I first got out here, like that was my immediate thought. And then I like sat on it for a few days, and I was like, that's fucked. Like, excuse my French, but I was like, that's really crazy that I think that I would even think that of myself. And that's what you're told. And so I made it like my mission to make sure that I would do as much as I can to represent, to just change that narrative. Yeah.
So I'm curious, since Ming-Na was
Mulan,
did you ask her for any advice as far as animating? Or
what's crazy is I didn't. I don't know why. that makes complete. I didn't really realize, to be honest, how significant these two movies were and how they're kind of like these twin movies in a way. It's crazy that we also happen to be co-stars for the past 7 years. But it was such a... What I liked about my version, as much as I was always so excited about how I related to it, and I wasn't really, to be honest, in the midst of making it until I really saw it, until we got closer the past year or so, because I've been attached to it for about 3 years. I didn't really... I normalized how profound it was that this character was Asian and that this character was going to mean a lot to people. And I'm glad I normalized it in a way, because that means, you know, I think the second that we stop talking about things being made by women, starring Chinese, you know, they're never like, you know, hey, white guy, what's it like playing a strong white guy? You know what I mean? Like the second we stop asking those questions, it'll be normal. So it's kind of crazy that this is, you know, that I was like, what? There hasn't been, and I go, I guess there hasn't. So I didn't really think much about it in that way, but it's awesome. And she texted me after she saw the first trailer, and it meant a lot. It meant a lot to me to hear from Ming. That she was excited to see the film, because, yeah.
Did you like the fact that
question, guys.
the fact when she's walking by and there's flies all over, she didn't care what people thought?
Loved that part. Loved that part. That was like, I think that'll be a powerful image for a young girl. I kind of have a feeling. Yeah.
Like, I don't care what you think.
I loved that. I love that she just owns who she is, and she truly doesn't care in that moment, and she's truly herself, and I think that's everyone's superpower, is just being themselves. So I love that part.